People make the decisions they make. What I want to make sure of is that she doesn't touch things and get rid of things like Head Start.
Yeah, totally
that,
agree.
for me, is a big, don't come in doing that, because then you're telling me you don't care. Wake up and see that there's nothing wrong with who you want to love, as long as you keep me in mind when I say, this is who I love. All of these things were challenged by people who said, maybe they didn't say you're too woke, but they used whatever the hip word of the time was. This has always been, it will always be. This is what change does. It makes people uncomfortable. It scares people, makes people think that they're...
Daytime television just exploded in what might be the most shocking on-air clash in recent memory. Whoopi Goldberg found herself completely outmatched when Karoline Leavitt delivered a fiery takedown that left the audience stunned. What started as a routine debate turned into a brutal showdown that no one saw coming. The tension in the studio was immediately apparent. As soon as Leavitt appeared on screen, it was clear she was not there to play by Whoopi's rules. The segment kicked off with a heated discussion, but things escalated quickly when Whoopi tried to shut her down with her usual dismissive tone. But Leavitt wasn't having it. Unlike so many guests who buckle under the pressure of The View's notoriously hostile environment, she came prepared. She didn't just push back, she demolished every weak argument thrown her way with cold, hard facts. Whoopi, used to dominating conversations and cutting people off, seemed unprepared for the level of confidence and precision Leavitt brought to the table. As the discussion heated up, Whoopi's frustration became more and more obvious. She tried interrupting, changing the subject, and even resorting to her usual dismissive laugh, but nothing worked. The audience could feel the shift. Normally, Whoopi commands the stage, but this time, she was losing control. With every sharp rebuttal, Leavitt backed her into a corner, making it clear that she was not intimidated. Then came the moment that would go viral. Whoopi, clearly struggling, tried one last time to regain control, throwing out a typical sarcastic remark in an attempt to dismiss Leavitt entirely. But instead of taking the bait, Leavitt delivered a final blow that left Whoopi stunned into silence. The studio went dead quiet for a second. You could almost hear Whoopi trying to come up with a response, but nothing came. She had been completely shut down, right there on live television. And just like that, social media erupted. Within minutes, clips of the encounter were flooding Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Fans and critics alike were sharing, commenting, and memeing the moment, calling it one of the most embarrassing defeats Whoopi has ever suffered. One Twitter user wrote, "I have never seen Whoopi Goldberg this speechless. Karoline Leavitt just handed her the biggest L on live TV." Another commented, "This might actually be the moment Whoopi realizes she can't just steamroll every guest who doesn't agree with her." Meanwhile, YouTube was on fire. Reaction videos started popping up immediately, with commentators breaking down every single second of the exchange. Some were calling it a career-defining moment for Leavitt, while others were pointing out just how unprepared Whoopi looked when faced with someone who wasn't afraid to challenge her. Even mainstream media outlets couldn't ignore what had just happened. Headlines like "Karoline Leavitt destroys Whoopi Goldberg in heated live TV showdown" and "Whoopi Goldberg left speechless after brutal exchange with Karoline Leavitt" started flooding news feeds. And then there was the reaction from the viewers at home. The YouTube comment sections were filled with people cheering for Leavitt, praising her for standing her ground and not letting Whoopi control the narrative. One viewer wrote, "Finally! Someone who didn't let Whoopi bully them on national TV." Others pointed out the sheer level of frustration on Whoopi's face as she realized she was losing. "She was squirming in her seat," one commenter wrote. "It was almost painful to watch, but also glorious." The backlash against Whoopi was immediate and brutal. Viewers who had grown tired of her combative style were calling her out, saying that this moment exposed how reliant she is on shouting down her opponents instead of actually debating them. But let's talk about the real winner here, Karoline Leavitt. Not only did she handle the situation with total composure, but she also proved that she is more than capable of holding her own against even the toughest media personalities. This moment was a game changer. It was a clear message that guests on shows like The View are done being railroaded. It showed that if you come prepared, confident, and unwilling to back down, even the biggest names in television can be taken to task. And let's be honest, this was a long time coming. For years, Whoopi and her co-hosts have been accused of shouting down anyone who disagrees with them. But this time, it backfired spectacularly. Whoopi tried to regain her composure after the segment ended, but the damage was done. The look on her face said it all. She knew she had just been handed one of the most humiliating defeats of her career. And as the dust settles, one thing is certain. This moment will be replayed, discussed, and memed for years to come. It's a turning point not just for Leavitt, but for anyone who dares to challenge the mainstream media's status quo. So what happens next? Will Whoopi acknowledge the backlash? Will The View try to downplay the moment? Or will they pretend it never happened? One thing's for sure, you don't want to miss what comes next. If you love this takedown, make sure to smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you're always in the loop for the next shocking showdown. And remember, this is just the beginning. Stay tuned because more fireworks are on the way.